Hi, I'm Diane Smith. Coming up on the summer edition of Positively Connecticut, a scrumptious taste test to find the best tasting Franks in our state.
This is the king of Connecticut hot dogs.
Relive the songs and stories of a Connecticut Civil War soldier. Also from the pages of history, this American classic. Come cruise Connecticut skies in an authentic warbird. Join me for these stories and more on Positively Connecticut on CPTV.
Stay tuned. It's CPTV's Next. Fulfilling your need to explore. CPTV travel programs are brought to you by the following, by their investment in CPTV.
People's Bank brings you advice.
I've known him all his life. I'm his dad.
Like all dads, he gave me advice.
Like all sons, he ignored it.
Only half of it.
That's why I always gave him twice as much advice. You learn these things when you're a dad.
Are you getting the right advice from your financial partner? Peoples can provide the financial guidance to help you meet all your goals. People's Bank.
Are you ready for an historic business move? Connecticut offers hundreds of business sites primed for high-tech use. Call the Connecticut Brownfields Redevelopment Authority today. We have the upfront financing to help make your next business move historic.
CPTV's presentation of Positively Connecticut is made possible through leadership funding from People's Bank, with additional support from the Connecticut Development Authority. I'm Diane Smith. As you'll see in our program, I travel the highways, byways, and waterways to bring you the stories that are Positively Connecticut. They're stories that make us feel good about our corner of New England.
I'm John Klein, President and CEO of People's Bank. Positively Connecticut's focus reflects the commitment that People's Bank has had to its customers and communities in our great state since 1842. That's why People's is proud to bring this unique show to CPTV viewers.
Coming up next on CPTV, we're going to salute the hot dog, crisscrossing Connecticut in search of the best. We'll fly like an eagle and feel like one too in this authentic warbird. A fairy tale complete with a Connecticut castle, and the story of a Connecticut soldier's fight for freedom. Join me for those stories and more right now on Positively Connecticut. Hello, I'm Diane Smith, and welcome to another edition of Positively Connecticut. Today we're in Bristol, the home of Lake Compounce Theme Park, the oldest amusement park in the United States. Back in 1846 on opening day, it was built as a picnic park. Today it's home to dozens of rides, a water park, a vintage carousel, as well as a 1911 open-air trolley on loan from the Shoreline Trolley Museum. The park's history is long and it's rich, with loads of fun facts, too. Did you know it was back in 1896 when Compound served its first Red Hot? Red Hots, that's what they used to call them. Today they're known as Franks, Frankfurters, hot dogs, weenies, wieners. We asked two of the world's leading experts on hot dogs to join us and pick out some of the best of the worst. Never on Fridays might be the slogan for Blackie's hot dog stand in Cheshire. They're closed, going back to the days when Catholics couldn't eat meat on Fridays. Art Blackman opened Blackie's as a gas station in 1928, serving hot dogs on the side. Soon he was selling more hot dogs than gasoline, so he took out the pumps but kept selling Franks. The homemade relish is famous, its recipe a closely guarded secret. Jane and Michael Stern, the road food experts who find the most memorable local eateries on the back roads of America, are convinced that Connecticut is the hot dog state.
Every part of America has hot dogs, but every part of America has different kinds of hot dogs. Even in Connecticut, from place to place, they're prepared so differently. It's a kind of specialty that has 5,000 different forms in a 5,000-mile radius.
So, what makes a hot dog great?
Hot dogs have had a very bad reputation because they're kind of mystery meat tubes, and the most somebody will grudgingly tell you is it's beef or pork, but, you know, beef or pork what? The places that Michael and I adore in Connecticut really are careful about what goes into the hot dog, what the casing is, whether it's natural or artificial. It's like any food. You can make a mishmash out of it, or you can make it really almost a gourmet experience.
One of their favorites, Super Duper Weenie in Fairfield.
Everything about Super Duper Weenie really is super duper. I mean, the hot dogs are special, the buns are really buns from a real bakery, and the condiments, I mean, these are actually made from scratch condiments. They don't just buy relish. They pickle cucumbers to make the relish from. I don't know of any other hot dog place that does that.
Owner Gary Zamola is a former chef at a fine restaurant, and he emphasizes fresh ingredients on his New Englanders, Chicagoans, and Dixie dogs.
The whole idea of this whole place was to taste a hot dog that was probably prepared maybe 50, 60 years ago.
Yeah.
Where they didn't have something that'll make a shelf life of 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
I wanted to taste something that was from a bygone era.
In a bygone era, Raleigh's in Fairfield was someone's house. Now the front porch is where you order their deep-fried, then grilled dogs.
Rowley's is really sort of the grand old man of southern Connecticut hot dog places. It's been there, I think, since the 40s. And they are the upholders of the deep-fried technique.
Nick Frateroli is the fourth owner.
And it's just a tradition that's been carrying on for years and years and years, and we just kept it the same. We're not changing anything.
Cynthia Lopez lives in Florida now, but she was weaned on these wieners.
First place we stopped, we have to stop at Raleigh's. The driver said, "Oh, where are we going?" I said, "Raleigh's."
Where Michael Stern says the New England classic was invented.
A Rowley's with the works, that bacon, the sauerkraut, the mustard, the relish. This is the king of Connecticut hot dogs, and to me, this is the quintessential health food.
This would not win a beauty contest. It's not, you know, a boutique hot dog. But it is one serious little piece of meat on a
The
bun.
crunch of the bacon, this is like I want to oink when I eat this. It is so wonderfully piggy.
If you want serious meat in a bun, head for Doogie's in Newington, where they will never tell you size doesn't matter. Frank's here come by the foot.
This is our 2-foot all-the-way dog. Chili, cheese, onions, peppers, and bacon.
They are, I mean, just visually, they are, I mean, they're almost obscene. This, you know, this like endless hot dog on this sort of tiny little bun.
Let's go.
For a gourmet experience al fresco, try the Funky Monkey on Chapel Street in New Haven. Maurice Juarez used to serve hot cuisine at the Union League Cafe. Now he serves hot dogs from a gleaming chrome cart just outside. Not only does the menu offer upscale toppings like mango habanero or a smoky chipotle sauce, but where else can you get a creme brulee with your dog? Maurice garnishes each cardboard boat with a slice of watermelon, a mini pickle, and an itty-bitty pack of chiclets. And there's always Latin music, oldies, or Frank Sinatra on his boombox.
Gourmet with a smile. Thank you, sir. All right. Thank you very much. They're the best.
Just off I-95 in Norwalk, there's Swanky Frank's.
Swanky Frank's is the quintessential kind of roadhouse, you know, highway diner. It's right at the end of the exit ramp. The hot dogs there are terrific. They're great classic deep-fried hot dogs. The French fries are spectacular.
Are incredibly delicious.
Even when it's jammed, owner Bob Menair isn't flustered. His last job was food service manager for the Pontiac Silverdome, where he fed 88,000 fans on game day.
You get people in here that they come in with their last $2.20 and can buy a hot dog. And then you get guys that pull in their Rolls Royce and Ferraris from Greenwich or Darien or New Canaan or Weston. You get all walks. And I guess the hot dog and French fry or cheeseburger and French fry transcends economic lines.
Customers are 8 months to 80 years old. Did you come here a lot?
Yes, Grandma loves it. I've got to take her here once a week for the chili dogs.
Bob Menair says before the interstates were built, there were loads of little joints like his, selling hot dogs or seafood, but most of those have disappeared. That's why hot dog stands like these are remnants of our past that are positively Connecticut. Over the years, we've traveled the highways, the byways, the waterways, and now we take to the skyways to find out what it was like for some of the heroes of Connecticut past. Simmons spends most of his time as a charter pilot, but when he wants to fly just for the fun of it, he cranks up the Warbird. Mark's vintage plane is an AT-6 Texan, made in 1941 by North American in Dallas. Countless World War II flying aces trained in these planes.
It served its first 7 or 8 years training our pilots for World War II area, and then it was canned up and archived until 1952, and then it was lent to the South African Air Force, in which it was used and serviced until 1992.
The AT-6 draws attention from its gleaming new paint job to the cockpits that look just like the World War II planes many of us have only seen in museums. This plane looks and feels like the real thing because it is the real thing.
It's a step back in time, and you're actually getting to feel what all the other aviators in the early 40s and early 50s actually did before they had to jump into a fighter and go fight for our country.
Mark's friend Ed Rosen owns a similar plane, and they often fly in formation at air shows.
Oh, it's a challenge. It's something most pilots aren't really too used to. You tend to try to avoid airplanes. In the case of formation flying, you try to stay next to one.
You too can thrill to the Warbird experience as Mark puts the plane through its paces. He's based in Pawcatuck, Connecticut, but he picked us up at the Groton New London Airport. I climbed into the second seat, and Mark helped me strap on a harness that went across the chest, waist, and legs and attaches to a parachute. Helmets on, we threw back the canopies and taxied down the runway on a glorious summer afternoon. The Pratt & Whitney engine and Hamilton Standard prop give off a distinctive sound. Fisher's Island, Long Island Sound, and the Thames River all come into view.
I can't believe that they let us get this close to not only the sub base, but to sensitive areas like Millstone.
As long as we don't linger in this area and circle around it, then we won't get a phone call. But we're in contact with the tower, so we don't have any problems, and they know that we're flying by it at this time.
There are other ways to see the beauty of our coastline, but few are like this.
People that want a little piece of history plus the excitement of flying in an older airplane. And when you go generally sightseeing in a small airplane, we can't go as fast as we're going now.
Which, for the record, was about 125 knots or about 150 to 160 miles per hour. Mark is a flight instructor, and he will customize your Warbird experience depending on what you'd like to see and do. The plane is known for being able to pull off aerobatics, and as a former pilot, I couldn't resist.
What we're going to do is we're going to climb up here and get a little extra altitude. Once we get up to 4,500 feet, we'll push the nose over, get a bunch of extra airspeed, and we're going to pull through just a nice little roll. And you're going to feel a little G's, and you shouldn't float out of the seat if I do it the right way.
That's very reassuring, Mark. Well, that's one view of Long Island Sound I don't expect to see again very soon.
Yeah, it's a beautiful sight when you're going upside down and you're just looking at something you've never seen that way before.
Whether upside down or right side up, there's certainly something about the Warbird experience that makes you feel a little like Top Gun, especially for World War II vets.
Oh, they get a real feeling of nostalgia, and they can't wait to hear the sound, because it's a sound that no other aircraft has as well. And it's just a step back in time for them and back to their younger years.
Whether it's nostalgia or a clear view on a lovely day you're looking for, the Warbird experience is a thrill that is positively Connecticut. Father Michael McGivney, a parish priest from New Haven, was a product of child labor and the mills and poverty of Waterbury. He very well may become the first saint from Connecticut. His story is told in a splendid museum located in a renovated former New Haven city office building across from the Coliseum. In 1882, Father McGivney founded the Knights of Columbus at St. Mary's Church in the city. With 1.6 million members, the Knights are now the largest society of Catholic men in the world. Dedicated to unity, charity, fraternity, and patriotism, last year they donated $110 million and more than 55 million hours of volunteer service for charitable causes. The son of immigrants, McGivney was inspired by Columbus, a Catholic explorer bringing his faith to the New World. Some of these artifacts date to 1493. The Papal Gallery is dominated by a 17th century statue of the first Pope, St. Peter. Pope John Paul II, A Passion for Peace, a temporary exhibit, documents the Pope's travels and meetings with world leaders and displays gifts from some of them, including a wooden statue of peace from the President of the Congo. This was the only place in New England included in a national tour of a revered relic from Our Lady of Guadalupe. Her appearance to Juan Diego in 1531 is thought to have led to the conversion of much of Mexico to Catholicism.
Who are we and where do we as a state fit into the fabric of this nation? Well, some of those answers are inside a building known as the State Library and Museum.
Directly across from the Capitol, its snowy white expanse may seem intimidating, but inside the Connecticut State Museum galleries are some of the keys to our past. There are 3 sections devoted to our political, military, and industrial history. Among the permanent exhibits are portraits of Connecticut governors and historic documents, as well as signs and buttons from campaigns for politicians and against political movements, such as the income tax. The gallery devoted to Connecticut's military history contains flags, weapons, uniforms, and memorabilia tracing the state's contributions from the colonial wars to the modern day. The display of Civil War uniforms and weapons also includes an original diary from a local soldier. Although Connecticut is no longer known primarily for manufacturing, it is still an important part of our economy, and the museum shows that has long been the case, with its displays of Connecticut-made firearms, clocks, typewriters, and tools. Local inventors and manufacturers such as Eli Whitney and Samuel Colt are included with more recent manufacturers like Pratt & Whitney.
The State Library and Museum is a treasure trove of facts that can reveal details of a whole life. And that's exactly what one librarian has done as he recreates the life of a Connecticut soldier.
There's no more chains holding me, and my soul is resting, and it's such a blessing to praise the Lord. Hallelujah, I'm free.
This Union soldier seems to have stepped out of time and into the Orchard Hill School in South Windsor.
Greetings to all of you. My name is Private William Riley Salisbury Webb. I'm of the 29th Connecticut Volunteers, and I fought in the Civil War.
Actually, he's Kevin Johnson, and he works in the History and Genealogy Unit at the Connecticut State Library. Always a history buff, Kevin's interest in African-American soldiers in the Civil War began in 1997 when he was asked to pose in a borrowed uniform at the Bushnell Arch. From there, he uncovered the life of a real man.
We scrolled down the enlistment papers, and we wanted to find a gentleman from Hartford. Yeah. And Private Webb was where the finger stopped. That was it. My curiosity led me to want to know a lot more about who this guy is.
Yeah. Kevin searched through the library's archives, finding census data, a record of Webb's mother's marriage, evidence that Webb was incarcerated for a time in Wethersfield, and then his Army enlistment papers. Webb joined the 29th Connecticut Regiment, one of 2 all-black regiments from the state, made up of free men from Connecticut as well as runaway slaves from the South.
The men of the 29th were some good men that were going to prove to be great soldiers once given the opportunity to fight. One soldier said, "I didn't enlist in this war to work. I want to be free. Freedom!"
Blacks were not enlisted until more than a year into the war, and they had to prove themselves to their white and sometimes skeptical commanding officers. Abolitionist Frederick Douglass saw this as a watershed.
Frederick Douglass said, "Once let the black man get upon his person, the prize letters U.S., and an eagle on his button, and a musket on his shoulder, and bullets in his pocket, there is no power on earth that can deny that the black man has not earned the right to be a citizen in the United States.
I think what Kevin is doing is a wonderful way to interest young people particularly in why history and archives are important, how you can bring the life of just a soldier. It wasn't the general, it wasn't the, the leader, but take a soldier's life and see how it evolved.
I thought it was very good because the way he knew so much about the person that he was doing.
In the final months of the war, Webb was sent home after an injury that would eventually blind him, but the 29th Regiment soldiered on. Recently, one of their musket rifles was donated to the library's museum.
I mean, I'm getting emotional now just thinking about that this was held by one of our guys that was fighting for the freedom. That I sit here, that I live every day. If it wasn't for these guys willing to give their lives for this thing called freedom, I want to be talking with you right now.
It was a long road for Kevin, from his first job to teaching about the Civil War in schools like this one. In fact, you might literally say it was a road, since he started as a toll taker on the Merritt Parkway.
When the tolls closed, the state sent him to the library on a job interview. And as Kevin likes to say, the rest is history.
All day we fought, and we did well. The officer wrote back, said that those men of the 29th fought brave and gallantly. Black men who were thought of as nothing, yet fighting brave and gallantly.
He was amazing. He detailed it very well, and you could see a picture of what it was like.
I think this is what really brings the history alive, and this is what students are going to remember when they become adults about their 5th grade experience. They're not going to remember page 378 in the social studies book.
And Kevin hopes they'll remember this.
The quest for freedom began to really overtake us. That's all these guys wanted, was an opportunity to be free. And with that opportunity, everything was possible.
It was an opportunity and an obligation that was positively Connecticut.
Then in 1863, President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, and blacks everywhere were set free. I say to you again, freedom. Said it sounds good and it sounds nice. Got to be free.
And now another trip back in time, but this one has its start way before the Civil War. In fact, you might call it Connecticut's own fairy tale. As the longest continuously operating ferry in the nation, the Rocky Hill to Glastonbury ferry has been running since 1655. By the time the state took over day-to-day operations from local families, the service had been in place nearly 300 years.
They represent the basic ferry boats that were used all through time, except for poles and horses on treadmills. But the tug and barge system they use in Rocky Hill is a distinctive way of ferrying.
The crossing takes only 4 minutes, and the barge can carry 3 or 4 cars. Downriver, a ferry has connected the scenic towns of Chester and Hadline since 1769. During its 4-minute-long trip, the Selden 3 hauls up to 9 cars, as well as passengers arriving on bikes or on foot. It has been featured in everything from a Troy Donahue movie to a Billy Joel video. The double-ended ferry boat is the delight of both commuters and sightseers.
I think a lot of people like to use the ferry boats to get away from the traffic. And there's a wait, but it actually makes you stop and reflect and soak in. And it brings you back to nature a little bit. You hear the birds chirping, you see the deer off in the distance in the morning. It's really a beautiful sight.
Some passengers are tourists headed for Gillette Castle. Others are daily commuters.
Picking up school children, and anytime I have to get to this side of the river, especially in the summer, it's just more picturesque.
Tidal changes mean you have to stay on your toes while at the helm. No problem for Captain John F. Kennedy, a former tugboat captain in New York Harbor. Boating must be in his blood. His father was assigned to the Bark Eagle when he met the captain's namesake.
Some people, this is their very first boat ride right here. Really? And they think the world of it. In fact, I remember coming out here when I was 5 years old. My mother was taking me out for a ride, just driving around when we came on here. And I can remember going right about here, and I was looking over at that dock over there and saying, this ride is too short.
Diane Darcy is the first mate.
I enjoy the public. I have a good time talking with most of the people from all over the world.
Sarah Simbeck is visiting from San Antonio, Texas.
It's absolutely the most beautiful part of the United States, as far as I'm concerned. It really is. It's gorgeous.
The river ferries are dwarfed by their 300-foot-long cousins in Long Island Sound, but the Bridgeport and Port Jefferson Steamboat Company also has a proud history. It was founded in 1883 by P.T. Barnum.
The original concept of the ferry was to link the agricultural products of Long Island with some of the city services, banking, dentistry, and so forth available here in Bridgeport.
Today, the fleet of 3 carries passengers who come for Bridgeport's arena, baseball field, and theaters, and for passengers headed for boutiquing and waterfront dining in Port Jeff, Long Island. While the state's small historic ferries do close down for the winter and come back in the spring, the Port Jeff to Bridgeport ferry runs all year round no matter what the weather. In fact, this ferry can take pretty much whatever Long Island Sound can dish out.
The way this vessel was designed for the run, she spans out over the seas, Long Island, good speed, we can get around whatever we want, good maneuverability, and the visibility, everything right from the drawing board. They did a good job.
With the trip of 17 nautical miles taking just over an hour, it's an alternative to highway traffic.
It's just much more convenient, and sometimes I'll even get work done while I'm on the ferry with a laptop, so it works out.
You do this every once in a while then?
Actually about once a week I do it.
The boats can carry 1,000 passengers and up to 120 cars. Last year, the fleet carried 425,000 cars, more than 10 times the number it carried just a few years ago. In Rocky Hill, Chester, and Bridgeport, 3 ferries with a long history of plying the local waters that are all positively Connecticut. Did you know that Bowling Green, Kentucky and Tavern on the Green in New York are both named for a sport that is both ancient and on the rise here in Connecticut? It's called lawn bowling, though Italians have a similar game they call bocce. At the Fernley Lawn Bowling Club in West Hartford, they play a game that the British brought to the colonies. After the Revolution, it faded, but in the mid-1800s, the game made a comeback. The object is to roll the bowl, not ball, racking up points by getting closest to the small white ball known as the jack, which may be as much as 100 feet away. Players use a biased bowl that is lopsided so it curves toward the flat side as it slows down.
You don't have to be a great athlete to be able to do it reasonably well. Now, that's not to say I do it reasonably well, but on the other hand, it is something that is
I want to get you sorted enough so you can leave Robert and go anywhere you like with Sammy.
How can I do that?
You can tell us what he's up to. Claire, if you could be our eyes and ears. Your husband is trying to incite a war on British soil, civil war. £600 a week in a bank account in your name. In return, you tell us everything you know about your husband's activities.
I need to go home. I need to think about it.
No. If you don't want to help us, you'll never see me again. If you agree, you'll never see me again. I'll give you 5 minutes. I'll be in the car. 5 minutes and 1 second, I'm leaving.
Anywhere I like.
Anywhere you like.
Full shipment, big check.
What about the route?
Seems kosher. They've already got their hands full up north.
Sorry, mate.
Listen, Nick, I'm shooting off for a bit.
Oh, really? Why?
Can I borrow a pen? No? Never mind. Oh, look, here's one.
Who are you working for? I don't understand.
You will.
The photo was taken in Paris a year ago. The Greek guy's name's Bora. He's the fixer in Cyprus for routing Chechen refugees to Holland.
What's a racist doing smuggling illegal immigrants into the UK?
Send them a message.
Where are they?
In a matter of speaking.
It's 12:05. We're 5 minutes late on Greensleeves.
Court cases that push the boundaries of American justice. The victims, the accused, these are their stories.
Was Kathy Bush a caring mother or a calculating criminal?
On American Justice. Tomorrow at 9 on A&E.
Ugh. Stop using messy athlete's foot cream. Try new Gold Bond foot swabs. I've never seen anything like it. Just snap to release the only medicine proven to cure and prevent most athlete's foot. With no mess. New Gold Bond foot swabs. The no mess, no touch cure.
I got everything. I got a computer and every school supply he could possibly ever need. We are so set for school.
When we say you can buy your school supplies early, we mean like July. Office Depot, low prices every day.
Anything you want, you got it. Anything you need, you got it. Anything at all, you got it. Anything at all, you got it.
This is way too much car for what you want to pay.
But it's the summer sales drive.
There's no way you're going to get all this for that price, trust me.
Uh-huh.
Here you go, ma'am. You're all set. I'll just walk home.
The best values in America are now at the Chrysler Summer Sales Drive. Like 0% financing on America's favorite convertible, Sebring. Or get a $2,000 cash allowance. Plus our 7-year, 70,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Let us prove we've got the best values in America. Hurry to your Chrysler dealer today.
A no-brainer. What's a no-brainer? Everyone knows what a no-brainer is. You don't have to think about it. It's just that good. Now you can call anyone in America for 3 cents a minute and 39 cents to connect. And that 3 cents gets you Canada and Western Europe, too. Just dial 1010-987. Nothing to commit to. Just use it when you need it. Hey, what's to think about? 1010-987. A rate this low never went so far.
If you're
the Silverado, no brag, just fact. Fact. Car and driver's best pickup for an unprecedented 3 years straight. Fact. Silverado 1500 has more available towing capacity than Ford F-150 and every other half-ton pickup. Current Chevy owners and lessees can get a 2003 Chevy Silverado work truck with Smart Buy financing for around $229 a month. Call for residency restrictions and other details. Chevy drives Connecticut.
Right. Got it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's great news. I appreciate it. Goodbye. Well, I've got some fantastic news.
I'm out of here.
No, it was Geico. I just saved myself a bunch of money on my car insurance.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
We're going to get through this, all right? Understand?
Hurry up.
Wait till I get here.
When was the last call in?
Midnight yesterday. Could be a full 25 hours they've been gone. Where's Zoe?
She's with the customs team at the landing site on the Suffolk coast, Lamberton.
We should pull her back to Romford. Start a search.
Not now.
You must think I'm some kind of moron.
I trusted you, you bastard. I trusted you.
We're fighting for you, you idiot.
I don't know who you think we are.
Shut up. I know someone's been interested in me for quite some time. Her fault, of course. Boyfriend line stood out a mile.
What do you want?
MI5 penetration of all far-right groups. Names of sources, their runners, and the officers managing them.
MI5, is that who you think we are?
I don't think you understand. You're used to dealing with the skinhead lads, the dropouts, the lowlifes. But we're officer class, you see. We've thought things through a bit more. And little by little, this country will change. We bring the foreigners in, we choke the asylum system and shove immigration in people's faces. We are on the edge of an abyss, my friend. I'm going to take this country back one street at a time. So, names, sources, runners, everything you got.
No!
Dear, oh dear.
Okay, I'll give you a name. If you want a name, I'll give you one. Brian, for God's sake, tell him. Tell him!
Cheap trick. Everyone used to laugh at us. Not anymore.
No!
Not anymore!
Let her go! I'll give you what you want!
I guess you better try again.
I've got a kid, same age as Sammy.
He might just grow up in an all-white England and he'll have me to thank. Kill him!
Hello?
SOS, Greensleeves.
Tracing. Any idea of your orientation?
Well, I can do the bloody well stand up. I need a safe house now.
Okay. Call box is Romford, grid reference GML9185. Safe house at GML9293. Get a take team fanning out in a 3-mile arc. Start with the safe houses.
I'll go with.
You'll stay put. More news. Osborne's ordered the crew to throw the immigrants overboard. Customs saved as many people from the water as they could. Tessa's viewing the live feed and Zoe's on her way back.
To Romford, you mean? That was her. She's going after Tom and Helen.
Pull her back.
Believe me, she's unstoppable.
On the next mission, how can a dead agent mastermind the takeover of an embassy?
Zoe's in there.
No longer will we suffer in silence or tolerate oppression.
And betray a nation's security?
I work for Her Majesty's Secret Service.
MI5, an all-new mission, next Tuesday at 10 on A&E, The Art of Entertainment.
MI5, brought to you in part by Chrysler.
Can't. I don't care if it is their summer sales drive. He can't beat his own best deal.
Well, actually, the best values in America are now at the Chrysler Summer Sales Drive. Like cash allowances up to $3,500 or 0% financing for 60 months on award-winning minivans. Plus, get our 7-year or 70,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Let us prove we've got the best values in America. Hurry to your Chrysler dealer today.
Target has given over $100 million to schools, a big boost for education. And did you know that every time you use your Target Visa or Target Guest Card, Target donates more to the school of your choice? It really adds up. Apply for your card today and make the future even brighter.
Guess what? It's the OK Decide Already computer sale. Because all you've got to decide is whether you want $300 off our Gateway 300S desktop or $200 off our 400 SP Plus notebook. What does the plus mean? Why, it means this notebook features a CD burner DVD combo drive and a mobile Intel Celeron processor at 2.2 gigahertz. That means it's fast. So call, click, and come in today for great Gateway computers featuring Intel processors.
A no-brainer. What's a no-brainer? Everyone knows what a no-brainer is. You don't have to think about it. It's just that good. Now you can call anyone in America for 3 cents a minute and 39 cents to connect. And that 3 cents gets you Canada and Western Europe, too. Just dial 1010-987. Nothing to commit to. Just use it when you need it. Hey, what's to think about? 1010-987. A rate this low never went so far.
I was really worried.
I couldn't remember my own grandson's name.
Dad was having trouble doing everyday things. Honestly, I just didn't know what to do.
Problems like these that affect daily life may not be normal aging. They could be signs of Alzheimer's. It's crucial to see your doctor. Aricept, a once-a-day pill prescribed for millions worldwide, helps fight mild to moderate Alzheimer's. It is well tolerated, but not for everyone. People at risk for ulcers should tell their doctor since their condition may get worse. Some people experience fainting. Common side effects are nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, not sleeping well, muscle cramps, feeling tired, or not feeling hungry. In studies, these were usually mild and temporary.
Aricept is helping him do better.
My life is far too important to just give up without a fight.
See your doctor as soon as you can and ask about the #1 prescribed Alzheimer's medicine. If it's Alzheimer's, Aricept can help you fight back.
Dream for a living. Find your inspiration. Biography Magazine. Subscribe now and get 12 issues for only $23.97. To order, call 1-800-901-2233. Biography Magazine. Every life has a story.
You know Derek from Millbank, of course.
I want the increment.
Impossible.
They're special forces, they'll understand. We look after our own. Extract Claire and the kid, erase Osborne and the rest of them from the planet.
I understand how angry you must feel.
You don't understand a thing.
This is a mess, but a merry mess nonetheless. 2 people have died and Osborne's on the rampage. I say good, in a manner of speaking. And chuffed to say he's tainting the right with every single action he takes, pushing the right further right and the left towards the central reservation. Suddenly, a government position on immigration is now possible that was practically unthinkable 2 years ago. And make it look like we're practically socialists, for God's sake. All thanks to you.
You're not going to let us touch him, are you?
Now, I didn't say that. And only until the bill's been passed, obviously. Then you can get special branch to do your dirty work, as per the hymn sheet. We're not total cynics. Oh, dear.
You're a little shite, Derek. Have I ever told you that?
You've implied it enough times. Take a chill pill, Harry.
With bells.
Next.
Matthew!
You alright?
Long story, not now. I want you to come and live with me. I have a big flat, and it's big, and it has a garden. And I want you and Maisie in my flat and in my life as soon as possible. Will you do that?
Sweetness!
Target has just left.
Target in sight.
Mrs. Sykes, your flight will be boarding from gate 29 in 40 minutes.
No longer will we suffer in silence. Who tolerate oppression, and we will fight for the future of our children!
Tom, Zoe's in there.
Zoe's using a cover name, Emily Arlington.
If the terrorists get her, she'll be the first person they... I know.
Shoot the policeman. Please! Please! The person who owns this handbag, step away from the wall!
It's mine.
Who do you work for?
I work for Her Majesty's Secret Service.
One round has been fired.
Previously on Third Watch.
All I know is that 5 people got killed. And nobody seems to want to say anything about who might have done that.
It's a stupid tape. If they didn't have you on tape, Doc, it's irrefutable.
My life's at stake here, Jerry. This thing can't call